Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Kindly introduce yourself to us in 10 seconds.
I'm Sonye Allanah, DTM. I'm an etiquette and image consultant. I'm a speech coach, and yeah, so much more.
Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. My first question is, what are some of the standards that Toastmasters have in place for their members? And how do we meet those standards, especially here in Nigeria?
Well, the standards are simple and they have stood the test of time since 1924. The standards have been laid down and we have survived because of them. Of course, the tagline is that Toastmasters is where leaders are made. And everything concerning leadership is the standard for Toastmasters.
Okay. Now, how about the way we present ourselves, both during our meeting times and outside the Toastmaster circle? What do you think about it? Are we doing the best right now? If we are not, what can we do to improve in that regard?
As I said, that everything flows from the tagline when we say Toastmasters is where leaders are made. And what does a leader look like? If you look at the world leaders, when they come on stage, when they're meeting, how do they present themselves? It starts with presentation because everything is about impressions. The leader wants to show that he's in control. The leader wants to show that he has authority. And of course, everything about his persona speaks. It starts with dressing. For example, we have to know and understand how a leader should present himself. And in Toastmasters, likewise, as soon as we take up the mantle of leadership and we take any officer's position, for example, we must begin to dress appropriately. We can't stand behind the lectern in ripped jeans and t-shirts. We can't stand behind the lectern in spaghetti strapped tops or crop tops. A leader does not show themselves like that. Look at the world leaders. Look at from anybody. Okay, right now we have Biden in the US and we have people like
Macron?
yes, I'm not even talking about just European leaders, even African leaders. Okay, look at our president. How does he present himself? It's always in full agbada with his head covered. Now that shows leadership, that shows presence, that shows the respect you have for the people you are leading. Because if you're leading people, it is supposed that you have followers. So if you have followers, where are you leading them to? We should lead them to a position of excellence. We should lead them to a position of authority. We should lead them to a position of respect, which is one of the core values of Toastmasters. And we respect ourselves by the way we dress. Yeah, and I believe that less is more. So by the time we don't have to wear coats of many colors, we don't have to wear expensive clothes to look good, but be well put together, be color coordinated. And again, as I said, when you look at leaders, at the world leaders generally, you see that they normally wear almost the same colors. If it's suits, they're almost always in dark blue or black suits. If it is agbadas or if they're wearing traditional, it is a unique color. They wear maybe a white agbada or a brown or a taupe or whatever. You don't see them wearing pink and yellow with embellishments and things like that. No, because leadership, you are supposed to exude the power. So before you even open your mouth, people will want to trust you. People will want to follow you. And there is also a hidden message in colors. Okay, you see what I'm wearing now? If I would be wearing the same thing in a bright pink, it would give a different connotation. If I were to be wearing it in yellow or black, so colors speak. So we have to be very conscious of the way we present ourselves to ensure that when we open our mouths to speak and we say follow, people will actually say yes, it's somebody I can follow. If I were to be wearing a mini skirt now and maybe 8-inch heels and whatever, and I'll be talking, people would just be saying, no matter what I would say, they wouldn't want to follow me. They'll just be saying there's something wrong. For her age and this kind of dressing, it doesn't go together. So there has to be an alignment of what you say and how you present yourself, and that is when you come across credibly. Now, it's not, you don't have to wait until you are a club officer. It says Toastmasters, which means across board, Toastmasters, where leaders are made. Now, if you're going out into the public, if you're in your office, in your community, can people look at you and say, this person is a leader? This person is a Toastmaster? If they can't distinguish, that is your checkpoint, or yes. So you check yourself again. Something is amiss, and maybe some small adjustments need to be made. As I said, you don't have to go on a shopping spree. You don't have to be wildly expensive or extravagant, but just the way you put yourself together elegantly and professionally, it shows that something has changed. And I'm so happy. I've seen over time Toastmasters used to be quite even rough, if I may say so, but now they are the epitome of leadership. And that gives me so much pleasure because we can see that leaders are actually made.
Thank you so much, man. I had a conversation with someone some time ago, and he was telling me that why do we dress the way we do, especially when you're supposed to speak? Why do we dress the way we do? Maybe you want to talk about that as well, especially for speakers that have a speaking role at club meetings. How should we appear on those days?
We should appear neat and clean and tidy. Why? Because you're on stage. Once you're on stage of any kind, the spotlight is on you. Once you're on stage, people are taking pictures. Before, you would have to wait until maybe NTA or the media would come, but now everybody's there with their phones. And with a click of the button, you're in cyberspace, and it goes everywhere. Toastmasters all over the world see it. People all over the world see it. And it means that you are now assigning a reputation to Toastmasters. If you are appearing in a certain way, you're saying Toastmasters are like this. Because remember that when you stand behind the lectern, the Toastmaster logo is very bold in front of it. And you are now standing behind the lectern as a speaker. So you're saying Toastmasters are like this. So we have to be very careful that we key into the Toastmaster vision that has been sustained since for almost 100 years now. It is not for us to derail it. Why it has been able to stay all this, the standards have not changed. It's because the model is watertight. Because if not, some people say, it's old-fashioned. In those days, they used to say it's old-fashioned. No, this is something that is applicable up till today and for the next 100 years. Because it is a watertight model. Leaders are like that, and that is how it will always be. I don't think I will see leaders, in tattered tops and, being unkempt and whatever. Leadership just doesn't work that way. As a leader, you have to make the extra effort to put yourself together, and then you can lead.
But can you share an experience where maybe an Toastmasters kind of experience where someone just looked at you and said, "Where have you been? Who are you? What club do you belong?" Something like that. Because I believe this thing transcends our meetings. If we imbibe what you're just telling me now, it means that we can stand out everywhere we go.
Absolutely.
So maybe share with us, maybe it could be an office experience, it could be a casual gathering experience where someone saw you and said, I want to be like you because of the way you presented yourself.
In my former office, I used to be in the private sector, and then when I now moved to I used to be in the public sector, and then when I moved to the private sector, I headed the department for the very first time. And when I got into that industry, I asked them, what is the dress code? And there was none. There was no dress code. People just wore what they thought was okay. So I was heading the government relations department, and straight away I ensured that the gentlemen would wear ties, and the ladies would dress appropriately and all that, and that became a culture. Now people would look at me, and you see, just like what I'm saying, because of that, they painted a persona of me that was even larger than me, just because I comported myself. And even the IT students that came to do their IT with us, some of them would say, this is Mrs. Allannah's product, because you would see the way they would dress, the way they would carry themselves with dignity and respect. And it even goes beyond dressing. Even the way, when we say we speak, you don't start shouting, screaming, giving each other a high five, and just, maybe displaying a behavior that is,
unlike a leader.
Yes, it's unlike a leader. A leader always, comports himself. Yeah, and the leader disciplines himself in such a way that you don't just, go wild and go crazy. So when people look at the comportment, together with your dressing, together with the words that you speak, I think then you've got it.
Okay. The other day I was interviewing distinguished Toastmaster Winston, and he made mention of when you traveled with him to Ivory Coast for one meeting. He was talking about service actually. How did that happen, and what stood you people out? Because he said that the subsequent year you became part of the board for the district for, I think, a year or two. So please tell us about that. Now, because this now has gone beyond Nigeria and Abuja. Even when you stepped outside the country, did that stand you people out? Could that be part of the reasons why you were marked out? If it is, please share with us.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. That's why I said that we have to understand that Toastmasters is an international platform, and we go for international meetings. And what I did at that particular meeting under reference in Cote d'Ivoire, I decided to be proudly Nigerian. I wore our Ankara outfits, I wore Ankara styles. I tied my hair and all of that, and it stood me out. So people would come to me, they would even ask me, how can they get my head wraps and all of that. And again, as a comportment, when people are looking for leaders, when there's a conversation about where leaders are discussed or who could come and join, the board and all of that, it is then that you know who singles you out and why you stand out. So the important thing is that when discussions are made when you're not in the room, will you stand out? You should stand out and be outstanding in a very positive way, in a very positive light. That you see that you're not seen to be quarrelsome, you're not seen to be overly flamboyant, you're not seen, just what I call just to be middle of the road. Yeah, but at the same time, you comport yourself with dignity, respect, and pride in such a way that they will want you to be part of the team. Because people are looking for the leadership qualities. What are those qualities? They are even the qualities that you can't really articulate, but they manifest nevertheless in your comportment, in your choice of clothing, and in your speech.
I've noticed in my short stay with Toastmasters that there are a lot of things that you've done. For instance, I got to know that you were the one that introduced these name tags for us. You named Emerald, you named Topaz, and you keep bringing value on the table. What's your motivation?
The motivation is self-driven, really, because I believe I have a personal mantra, and that is bloom where you're planted. So anywhere you are, okay, we are in my garden, and you can see it is nice when you see blossoms. Now, if the vegetation behind me had been dry and droopy and all of that, we would not be sitting here doing this video. So it's the same thing with us. We are anywhere we go for a purpose, and we must bring value, and you must bloom. You must make the place lively. You must make it lovely. You must make it better than you've met it. Yeah, so that's my personal mantra. Always bloom where you're planted, add value. So by the time you leave, the fragrance is left behind, the pleasant memory is left behind. When they think of you, they smile. That's what it should be. So it's just a personal disposition.
Maybe after this conversation, you have to lay hands on me to transfer some of those anointing. Okay, lastly, creativity in leadership.
Yes.
How important is this, and how has it worked for you over the years in your corporate life, in your personal life? Please share with us, because I notice whenever you do anything in Toastmasters, it comes out different. It may not be, how do I put this now? It may not be very loud, but it's unique. So, what role does creativity play in leadership, especially?
Creativity plays a massive role in life, not just in leadership.
Exactly.
I, for one, I don't like one of the mill, same old. That same old, I don't believe in it. So I always believe that the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. And the extra is really very little. It doesn't have to be something massive. For example, table topics. When I'm a table topics master, I think that what can I bring to the table? I don't like the same, I have questions 1 to 5. I'm thinking of different things. Look under your seat, you see a number, this and that. Remember at one time I bought some very small vials of perfume, gave it to the winners and things like that. Even in my office, what can you do differently? What can you do to maybe put a smile on somebody's face and just to create an atmosphere of suspense, of expectation, and then of satisfaction. That when you leave at the end, you say, I'm glad I came. Not to say, okay, it was okay, Sha. Yeah, so there's a difference between the two.
Yeah.
So it's really, if it's up to me, it has to be super. So that's just it.
Thank you so much. Your last word for someone that is watching this, probably a new Toastmaster or a veteran Toastmaster, in summation of all you said so far, what should we be like, and why should we be like that?
Always be your best, you do your best, and look your best. Because it's not for us to let the Toastmaster vision down. God forbid.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate this time. Thank you so much, man.
My pleasure.